Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I do want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Shemel Shabbat Shem Kakadash, to born to the apostles, now great millstone, for teachings, his truth, peace, and blessings. To the hope like Israel, Yahweh is the name of the unfurling Shibu Hashem is the name of Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back in the lesson, as he was in the title, the land of confusion. And it's going to go into the wickedness and the confusion of this place, and the things that are promoted and heavily pushed, especially onto your young ones. As you see right here, it says in quotations, they're not pushing and shows rainbow agenda to kids. And yet you see this within a lot of these schools. They'll hold or they'll bring drags to your children's schools, reading them a bunch of wicked books, telling them it's alright to pretty much be what they are and do whatever they want pretty much, and just a big ball of confusion, as you're especially going to see what's pushed and promoted within these TV shows, cartoons, and movies. Everywhere you look, it's just wickedness being shoved down your throat. And it's especially why we need the Lord, and why this place needs to be destroyed. It's nothing but wickedness and confusion that is upheld. As a matter of fact, that's the standard within this place. People look at you like you're the crazy one for especially speaking against these things, putting your foot down, not wanting to participate and be pretty much all right with these things. You're looked upon as the so-called black sheep and oddball, when really it's like speak too fast. When in reality they are, But I'm gonna play this quick video right here. It's gonna pretty much show a collage, if that's the correct word, of multiple TV shows that's pushing and promoting wicked agendas, and pretty much trying to justify wickedness, especially onto your kids and just kids in general. Because kids at a young age are a bunch of sponges. So them seeing this and being told it's alright and that this is so-called normal is obviously going to lead them away from the correct path. But let's get a couple scriptures and that'll be the points I ran into it.
I'm trans, Norma.
I used a different name and pronouns.
I'm Frankie. Pronouns they, them.
As a transberry, I love living out loud as my most authentic self.
I know I'm safe when I'm with my friends or other non-binary people.
He's the undisputed champion of my heart.
My name is Charles. I stay.
Truly vexing stuff, man.
Them for my pronouns.
Banafi will slay that runway.
Nightshade's pronouns are they, them.
He or she just doesn't fit who.
Yes, I was about to bring up this post about Transformers. And you kind of see the irony there, Transformers.
I am.
Welcome to your crash course in holiday self-expression.
But this is just one example. I believe he has multiple posts. Let me check. Because I remember coming across a similar post regarding that. But either way, let's see what these comments have to say. So I've lived the agenda and been affected by it. So I was mentally ill for a while, then I pulled myself out of it. People say the agenda don't exist, but I promise you it does. So this person giving this testimony. So I'd rather let my kids watch South Park. And this person right here says, how the F does a cow and a robot have pronouns? Hey, you're telling me. Which is further going to the confusion and wickedness of this place, man. Nothing about it makes sense. This is why you get in the scripture how the earth is out of course. How they walk on in darkness. Nothing makes sense in this place, man. This is why you have wickedness being looked upon as righteousness, as the norm. Why you have righteousness being looked upon as wickedness. It's all out of whack. But let's get into these scriptures at hand. Now, kick it off with Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 20, and it says, Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. So once you're seeing, evil being called good and good being called evil, as you're having these, wicked and rebellious things being, put on a pedestal. And you see also how the man is being, painted in today's society as something useless, as toxic, as, all these, various labels and things that they love to, push on the man. And what's so-called looked upon as a man today is a man that's in tune with his feminine side, that paints his nails, that wears women's clothing. It's all out of whack. Further pushing that point of why we need the Lord and why this place needs to be destroyed. There's also one in the scripture that came to mind was Micah 2:10. Now this is not our rest, and it's clear. But you have many of our people that's all right with the wickedness of this place. They're all right with the constant rebelling against the ways of Yahweh Ba'Shem El Shai. So Isaiah, Psalms 82:5. And it says, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. It's all out of whack. See what these other translations have to say. It says, but these oppressors know nothing. They are so ignorant. They wander about in darkness while the whole world is shaken to the core. And just, going back to the point I made, it's all out of whack. It's nothing but a big ball of confusion. Micah chapter 2 and verse 10 says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. This is not our kingdom. This is not our rulership. Yet you still have many of our people that want to reside within this place. Because ultimately they love it here. And they don't want this place to be destroyed, especially speaking of these other Israelite camps. And you had Captain Tazariak of the ICPK talking about a so-called Black America. Or talking about giving these states to Jake, this and that. Wow, the Lord is going to destroy this place. So how does that make sense? It's just, come on. Now that was another point. So sorry if I kind of veered off topic. I was recently watching one of the Elder Brothers lessons, Jim South Carolina 08. The Elder Brother Matsakba. But it says, the rising depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you even with a sword destruction. And a good example is the special truths for our people. And look how far gone and through the wicked of our people are. And especially to go to show just how through this place is, without the laws, statutes, commandments in place, without Yahweh Ba'Shem El Shai, you see how this place is ran. And it's being ran into the ground. So further going to show the Lord is needed. There's Revelation 11:8, and it says, their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So this is speaking of Babylon the Great, aka America, being called spiritually Sodom and Egypt. And you also had a bunch of wickedness take place back in Sodom and Gomorrah. As you also have Egypt representing that bondage, as you can also get in 2nd Ezra, I want to say 15th chapter, the 11th to the 12th verse. Good how the Lord shall smite this place with plagues. Smite Egypt again with plagues as before, if paraphrasing. But let's continue on. Got a couple more. There's Isaiah 24:5. Now it says the earth also, wait for it to load. And so the earth also is defiled and the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. And select for some broken record, but just further goes through how out of order, how out of whack things really are. Matter of fact, you have polls being taken to where people are voting for the Bible to be, getting rid of, to be taken out of schools, to be taken out of libraries. But when it's books about drags and a bunch of moles. They're alright with that type of stuff, especially being taught to our children. These movies and TV shows and the cartoons pushing and promoting wickedness, clouding, your young one's mind, just, kids in general, of wickedness. And just, that stuff being, pushed and promoted in general. You see within commercials, what's in movies, TV shows, cartoons, everywhere you look. It's a big ball of confusion being tossed your way. You destroying yourself is praised. And you have people that's over 600 plus pounds being called beautiful. Being called, what do they say? You're so strong. That takes a lot of courage, this and that. It's all through, man. All through. You're making to where your kids at a young age are able to get these, types of surgeries to remove certain body parts. Because there was, I should save that post, but there was a dude probably asking questions on the streets. He said, our kids, should kids be allowed to get tattoos at a super young age? I forgot the exact number he said, maybe in that right there, but and they all said no, because they're not, in the right mindset to make these types of decisions. And I didn't get to watch the full thing, but I knew what he was going to ask. So are kids able to get these surgeries to remove body parts and pretty much change their gender, this and that? And you best believe these people said they should be able to get those types of surgeries. They should be able to have that decision. It makes no sense. It's all out of whack, and these people don't know what they're talking about. They really a lot of people just parakeet things that they hear. As you have a lot of these so-called Miss-Independent feminist women, they'll throw the word misogynistic onto everything. Toxic masculinity, and you ask them what these words mean. I'm not gonna answer that because they don't know. It's like from kind of rambling. It's Ecclesiastes 1:14. It says, I've seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of the spirit. If you are all right with the wickedness and the confusion that is held within this place, and you feel, no way about it, you need to check yourself, I should say. Because you should, truly, hate this place pretty much. As you all see in Romans 12:2, be ye not conformed to this world. John 15, love not the world. As in right here, I've seen all the works that are done in the sun. Behold, all is vanity and vexation of the spirit. There's nothing but vexation, man. Micah 2:10, this is not our rest. And yet many of our people still want to reside within this place. They're all right with the confusion, the wickedness that's upheld. They're all right with these agendas being heavily pushed onto your children. And watching this video is just, what we just played is one example. You see multiple other agendas and things that you're trying to push within these movies, TV shows, cartoons, commercials, and using these celebrities. And really the new celebrities in today's time are these streamers. There's one streamer called Rakai. It was a Jake, a so-called black man, and you see what he's doing. Dressing up like a woman. You're wearing a skirt, and you have a lot of people that watch these dudes that follow and take after them. So people are gonna see that and think it's funny and think that's normal and think it's all right to do. It's all out of whack, But the Revelations 18 and 5 through 6, closing scripture, for her sins have reached into heaven, and the Most High has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled to her double. So great judgment, devastating destruction is coming to this place, and it is very well needed. It will especially coming to the inhabitants of this world. To the people of this world, if you know what I'm saying. See, also in the scripture, John 15, how the Lord has plucked us up out of this world, where we're looked upon as weird, and how we're hated, how we're despised, About the point earlier, Romans 12 and 2, be ye not conformed to this world, So I just made that point. Great devastating destruction and despair is coming to the inhabitants, of this world. Those that continue rebelling against the ways of Yahweh B'Shem El Shai, ain't nothing good coming your way. But as I made the point earlier, that's the standard within this place is, wickedness and confusion. That's the norm. Well, you have right to be looked upon as wickedness and the so-called, odd one out. It was a so-called wrong decision. Further going to show why this place needs to be destroyed and why this place needs to go. So the point was made. Slightly kind of rebelled on certain points and sound like a broken record, but Lord, I got the point across. Going to that video right there isn't nothing new. You had various other examples of things the devil has been pushing and has been doing. But it's why we especially need to just be wary, especially if you do have young ones of the things that they're watching. Because matter of fact, just add another point, you'll have actual wickedness and terrible things being posted to YouTube and various other social media apps, whatever the case may be. And they won't take those videos down or those channels that's pushing, promoting those types of things. But when it comes to actual good videos with information and especially dealing with these lessons, they'll take these down. But not these other types of things that's actually destroying people's minds and all this types of stuff, man. Which could have made kind of a better example. I was trying to remember one video or points that were made, but these are the types of things that you are seeing is the point. But I do want to close out, give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh B'Shem El Shai B'Shem Kakadash and Shalom. See you next one, Lord's will.